One such experience happened to me in the early 90s, when I was still a young man living in the outer Melbourne suburb of Sunbury in Victoria. I meditated regularly as part of my inner search, hoping for a vision or an experience that would help me understand the purpose to my life. Little did I know I was about to have an experience that would change my perception forever. In those days, my goal was not just centering my mind and body. My goal was to consciously leave my body. I had regular lucid dreams where I was flying or levitating, and so I wanted to astral project out into the stars. For me, the constellations and space itself held something so special. Every time I looked up, I felt alone. I tried so hard, time after time. For the longest time, nothing happened. But then, one sunny day, when I was just sitting on the warm brick driveway, with my back against the house wall, I suddenly and very rapidly left my body. I found myself mentally rising up. I cannot say I was astral travelling because I did not see my astral body, but my mind was moving so fast. I pushed higher and higher with my thoughts, and I went further and further into space, passing the constellations and nebulas I thought I wanted to visit. So quickly, galaxies and stars became meaningless to me, and I wanted to get to the edge. The edge of what? I did not know. I kept pushing faster and faster with my mind until I did actually hit the edge of something. I did not know what it was, but it felt like a barrier of some kind. I knew it could not be the edge of the universe, as strange as that sounded to me, because I could feel something beyond it. And if I could feel something beyond it, then there was something past it. So I used the power of my thought and I pushed, and the feeling of resistance disappeared. I was suddenly moving again. But then I hit another barrier. I did the same again, and this happened several more times until I became so very frustrated. I felt so desperate to get beyond it all, but before I could do anything else, the entire experience started to reverse, and all I could feel was myself returning back to my body. When I opened my eyes, I was positively shaking. But it was not my frustration that had shaken me. It was one single point of recognition that had imprinted into my mind. We live in an impossible universe. I understood that nothing can go on forever, because at the edge there was always something else beyond it, over and over, and that, I knew, was not possible. I knew endless was not the same as infinity. Something can be endless by going around and around forever, like a mouse on a wheel. But infinity, and the universe being infinite, was impossible. The knowing was so profoundly simple. If the universe was impossible, then everything within it was too. That meant I did not actually exist. And if I did not exist, what did? Who was I? What was I? What was real? Because I knew, I absolutely knew, I wasn't. That experience of an impossible universe changed something inside me. I saw everything differently. Nothing was the same. I was soon to meet Diane, and years later I would find out that at about the same time, Diane also had a profound experience of her own. We had not even met, and already our lives and our experiences were beginning to align. Diane's experience found her one night after she had been conducting a large workshop at a retreat in the hills east of Melbourne. Diane later shared with me, after finishing the last session of the first day, she was sitting in her room talking with two friends who had helped her facilitate the workshop. Standing next to her bed, something came over her. Diane's surroundings became completely unreal, like a surreal dream, not solid at all. Diane felt disoriented and had to hold on to a bedpost to steady herself. She sat down, but the sensation increased. Diane remembered looking at her friends on that day, and a sense of knowing from beyond her consciousness engulfed her. Diane knew her friends, the room, everything around her was not real. It was a powerful and unnerving experience that lasted for several minutes. After it subsided, Diane decided to get some fresh air. She walked outside to sit at a timber outdoor table, taking in the cool breeze. She sat down, and as it was winter, the night sky had already started to show its stars. Diane looked up, but as soon as she did, the sensation quickly returned. I remember Diane recounting that experience many times over the years, and the most overwhelming feeling Diane recalled that night, looking out at the starry night sky, was that the stars were far too close, and reality itself was so very small. Looking at the stars, Diane had felt a sense of intense claustrophobia, unlike anything she had ever experienced before or since. Her experience had shaken her, and yet imprinted her with a deep recognition. Diane knew everything she could see, touch, and feel was an illusion, a total illusion. Nothing was as it seemed at all. A few years later, in 1995, a similar thing would happen for a third time, but again in a profoundly unexpected way. It was a Saturday night, once again after a day of workshops and discussion. A group of us were relaxing in the lounge room of one of the group members. Some were chatting about the day, others were watching some television. I was watching the Life of Brian movie, and the discussion of so many topics were crossing over each other as laughter and insights filled the room. Without warning, as I sat watching the screen, my entire reality just started to distort. Everything just went flat. The room and everyone in it, everything I could see and feel, including my own body, all collapsed and flattened into what I can only describe as a two-dimensional flat plane, like glass. It happened so quickly, I was shocked, and I was both watching the plane from somewhere outside of it and existing on the inside at the same time. The duality of the experience was not something I could fully process or comprehend. I just did not know what to do. The experience lasted for another few moments. Then I blinked, and everything was instantly back to the way it was before, as if nothing had happened at all. No one else seemed to notice, and I was quite stunned for some time. I sat and kept staring at the screen, not watching at all, waiting to see if anything else was going to happen, trying to assimilate the experience, trying to understand, but nothing happened. I would not realize until more than 15 years later how Diane's and my experiences of impossible realities, claustrophobia, and a two-dimensional plane of existence were all connected. And as we explore further, you will understand what I mean, because experiences like these, whilst a shock to the senses, allow you to gain an insight into the world as it really is, not as we perceive it to be. Over many precious years, as Elonias and others spoke at length in an ever-expanding regime of the illusion of self, higher awareness, and a greater perspective on all things, we could not participate if we did not become more aware of our own perceptions also. We had to face ourselves and everything we believed. Whilst we viewed our reality from our singular perspective of thought, we could never understand what was being shared. There is an important point to be made here. When a being such as Elonias speaks of things both personal and vast, there always was and always is a reason for everything, a reason for their every word to every person. A greater energy of vast intelligence chooses its words in a way that meanings keep unfolding year after year after year, decade after decade. To become aware of the illusion of oneself can be a powerfully confronting experience for some and a liberating one for others. Many are spoken to, just like now, in this documentary, but one must be willing to see oneself clearly if they wish to see everything clearly. When you look at your greatest ally in life, if it is fear, then welcome it, understand it, talk to it. To understand your fear is to move beyond it, and when you have love, humility, and an open mind, and you have let go of fear, you have a bridge to everything. In the beginning, I explained this documentary to be a true sharing of events. It is our story, our experiences, things that happened, research, years of evidence, countless examples, prophecy that has come true over and over again, and ultimately, communication from beyond this reality by those who have returned to wake up those who have either fallen asleep to what they really are, or to those who are waiting for the signal that their job is complete and it is time to wake up. It is time to remember. I wonder what your story is. I wonder what experiences you have had. I wonder why you are watching this right now. What I say to you is this: if you respond, find out why. If you get angry, ask why. If you are not sure, find out why. If you dismiss it out of hand without investigating, you are not listening. If you believe it, don't stay there. Find out what more you know. The inner journey is the most expansive journey of all. Ask yourself, what can you answer about your life and reality that did not come from someone else's knowledge or conditioning? Why are there no complete answers so far from life? Why is there so much fear and chaos in the name of love and unity? Why is it, despite claims to the contrary, humanity's most valiant efforts by scholars, scientists, or religious leaders have never established a substantial, lasting, meaningful answer to the questions about the meaning of existence? There is no prosperity of spirit here. There is only illusion of progression or a survival mode of distraction. You deserve better. When love is all there is, but chaos and no love is all around, one has to ask why. When an answer comes from within the confines of this reality, it cannot ever be the whole story. How can anyone decipher the meaning of their existence by only examining the effect of the existence? It is not possible. There is no wisdom within limitation. That is why belief systems offer only partial answers. That is why science and religion have never been able to answer the most important questions of all about the creation of life. What is our reality? Why are we here? Once again, truth is not complex. The simple truth is this reality is not real, and that is why illusion holds no answers, because it is not real. But are you? What is real exists beyond this world. Do you? Because there is another world, a real world beyond this existence we call life. Those from the real are here to bring everyone who is real home. How do we know? Because experience supports knowledge, and knowledge arises from awareness. Awareness enters the outer conscious mind from the inner mind. That is when answers are meaningful. We have had literally thousands of experiences over the years, but awareness is not an accumulation of knowledge and experiences alone. They merely open the door for awareness to step through. That is why evidence and awareness go hand in hand to stimulate the recognition of the illusion of this reality.